Hi, I'm Lisa from the Sleep Connection. Today I'm talking with Monique. Monique finished her HSC last year and during year 11 made some major improvements to her own sleep when she realised how much her lack of sleep was impacting her motivation, mood and school success. So during year 11 you made some big improvements to your sleep. What were your main motivations for changing some of your sleep habits?
Well, I started to notice that my relationships were getting impacted with not only my school friends but my family.
Yep. So you're finding it impacted you at school in terms of your motivation in particular?
Yes, and my concentration as well. I was finding that when I was in class, I wasn't really there. I was just kind of there because I had to, not because I wanted to, and I wasn't putting in the effort.
What was it that you learned about sleep the most that made you think, okay, this will make a difference if I improve a few things?
For me, it was about the why, and so why the brain wasn't functioning at its prime when I wasn't getting the right amount of sleep the night before. So that was really impacting my academic performance.
Do you want to give me some feedback on technology and fear of missing out, how that impacted you?
Yeah, so the technology and FOMO was definitely one of the key indicators that I kind of realised that...
Even in year 11?
Yes, that I wasn't getting the right amount of sleep. The best thing that I did was taking my phone and my laptop out of my room, getting rid of all distractions.
So how did improving your sleep improve your time management?
So before I got into a good sleep routine, my time management was terrible because I never gave myself a certain bedtime. So I just thought, I can do it later. So when I started my sleep schedule, I had myself rules. And so what I made myself do was finish all my work by 9 o'clock. No matter what day it was, 9 o'clock was my deadline. So that I could have that wind down time afterwards to get the right amount of sleep and get quality sleep.
So during my workshop I talk about different ideas that people can use to change their habits. What were some of the key changes that you made?
So I definitely set myself a specific bedtime. So that was 10 o'clock for me. So I took all of my technology out of my room by 9 o'clock, so an hour before I'd go to bed.
That's impressive.
Yes, it was hard to get into the routine in the beginning, but that was probably one of the best things that I did throughout the whole program because that was one of the reasons that I was staying up, because I was kind of always, every single hour, if I couldn't get to bed, I'd just go to my bedside table, check my phone. So doing that and getting an alarm clock in my room.
A real alarm clock?
Yes, instead of using my phone alarm. And that was a big change as well because I was depending on my phone for my alarm.
What were some of the improvements you felt short term and then in the longer term once you started to change your sleep?
The first thing that I noticed was my mood. I felt refreshed when I got up, so I was ready to go to school. I was ready to learn. The next thing I started to realise was my concentration at school. So even though I was motivated in the beginning, it took another few weeks to kind of get that concentration back, to be able to sit in a classroom for the whole day and actually be able to retain information.
And I guess one of the other things that people will be interested to know is how sustainable were the changes that you made?
In the beginning, I kind of thought this is a bit of a long shot. Am I really going to do this all the time? But it's not something you need to do 24/7.
Do it as a choice.
Yeah, do it as a choice, something that you want to do, because I still do it now, even though I'm not at school, just because I love the benefits that I get out of it.
Okay, so in closing, what's the key message that you would like students to take away from this?
I just want to let them know that sleep impacts all areas of your life, and there is an easier way to do everything. I can tell you from my experience, and there's so many benefits that you can get out of it. You've got nothing to lose. It's all up from here.
So it improved everything for you?
Yes, 100%.
Fantastic. So what's the key takeaway you would like for the parents?
So I'd say look out for the signs that your child might not be getting the right amount of sleep. So big sleep-ins in the weekend, not being able to get up in the morning for school, that was probably one of the biggest things for me that my parents started to notice. And also the moodiness. So if they're not being cooperative and kind of ticking when they're at home, just starting fights, things like that.
Because often people put that down to typical teenager. It does not need to be the case. Often it's purely sleep. And what would you say about technology? What would your message to parents be about technology, particularly in room?
Yeah, so for the younger kids, I would say completely take off technology out of their room as soon as they get the devices, because they're kind of getting the devices younger and younger, so it's becoming more of a problem. And then for the older kids, I'd say when you start to get in year 10, 11 and 12, have a mature conversation with them, sit down with them, kind of say like, are you getting the right amount of sleep? Start to kind of prompt them with questions so they start thinking about it.
So in closing, what would your key takeaway be for schools and teachers?
So I think that it's really important to have this sort of program talked about at schools. At our school, we got a lot of talks about drugs and alcohol, motivational speakers, and then also like kind of safety ones.
Time management.
Yeah, time management.
Yep.
But probably the most important one out of all of them, and that will actually affect, as you said, 70% of students, is the sleep deprivation. So I think that getting spoken about sleep is one of the most important things that can be spoken about at schools.
Fantastic. Thanks, Monique.